last week's game. Let's talk about some of the questions, from the TTB family. So if you guys don't know, what we try and do is every time, every week, midweek, I'll put out a post on the community page of TTB Ravens Media. If you didn't know, just go to the YouTube channel, home, and then click on community, and I'll take you to all the posts. That's where if you see like in your YouTube subscribe or YouTube homepage and you see like different polls and stuff, that's what that comes from. But I'll put out and say, hey, we're recording our podcast. Let us know any questions that you guys have or takes that you guys have that you want us to talk about. And we have a couple. I think we have two that we can talk about. And I think it's fun to have that because it's just really interesting to look at, I think, seeing what you guys want us to talk about and whatnot. First one, I'll go to YouTube first. Shout out to Tanya Bowman. I believe Tanya's modded, so shout out to Tanya. Says, where were the receivers besides Duvernay? When Andrews was taken out of the game, Duvernay stepped in. Who does Lamar have to catch the ball? Bateman, ankle. Tylen is blocking. Isaiah Likely is blocking. Prochet was dressed, but yet when Bateman, who had the drops, left the game with an ankle injury, Prochet never got on the field. Who are the wide receivers on this team, Joshua? Because we don't, it's so weird. We don't really see the guys that we need.
You know what? The funny thing is, I was going to ask you, and Tanya, I love the fact that you asked that question. There's a lot brewing down in Charlotte, North Carolina. There's a Maryland guy down there that could possibly be a number one wide receiver. Do you think Eric DeCosta should be aggressive and see what it costs to get a DJ Moore in Baltimore? I feel like it's a low buy.
I don't think he's aggressive enough. I would love DJ Moore's so good. I would love DJ Moore in Baltimore, but I just don't know if Eric DeCosta is not aggressive on the offensive side of the ball. And if we got him, I don't know if we'd use him properly. Because the routes that we throw our guys on are typically not routes that DJ Moore would be able to be really good at. I feel like too many times we watch DJ Moore and then we watch the Ravens. It's like, DJ Moore doesn't do any of this because Roman's a lot of the time, oh yeah, you're running a streak. That's it. And you're blocking. That's your job.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, we could say Demarcus Robinson, but Demarcus Robinson was barely getting in the game. I mean, what do you have? One reception. Like Tanya brought up, the fact that Tylan Wallace, we finally saw his appearance out of him. He's in there blocking. It's like you got all these guys that's able to move the chains and be pass catchers, but yet you got them in situations where they're blocking. It's unreal. It's like you have good moments with Gregory and his play calling, and then the next moment it's pretty much a shit show. If we're being honest, it's a shit show, and it's like you just don't know what to expect when one guy goes down. Like running backs, okay, we'll figure something out. But when it comes to wide receivers, and it's like a main guy, we ain't been doing the best. So, I mean, you would think it would be Demarcus Robinson. You would think it'd be James Prochet that should have, received more reps when, y'all realize, okay, Rashad Bateman's not playing for the rest of the game. You think it would also be Devin Duvernay. Hell, even Riley Webb. Just continue running your offense. These guys are out here on this 53-man roster to play wide receiver, still run your passing plays. Let Lamar get these guys involved. How many times have we saw Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, now Patrick Mahomes take low-tier wide receivers and make them household names?
What's funny is I see Tylan Wallace out there all the time, but it's never when the Ravens are passing. It's he's the Miles Boykin. He's the I'm just gonna block guy, which is so funny because he's supposed to be this big play threat. He's supposed to be this jump ball threat. That's what he was in college. Was a deep threat. Get him down the field and throw it to him, and he'll make a play. Prochet wasn't really like Prochet could do it, but Prochet was more like, oh yeah, you can also give it to him underneath. You can give it to him, down low, which we've seen out of Prochet in the NFL when he has gotten on the field.
Yeah.
Tyler Wallace doesn't get those opportunities at all. And the other thing about this game was the first half, J.K. Dobbins seemed like he was great in the passing game. And then right when Bateman got hurt or got benched, he got hurt, then he got benched, or just was hurt. We don't know exactly. I don't know if anybody's gotten to Gregory yet to figure that one out. But without Bateman, they were able to focus on someone else. JK. And it killed the Ravens offense because they weren't getting a lot of yards per play. This was not an explosive game by any means, which you don't expect against one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
The Ravens had, a couple of big runs, some decent receptions. I think 2 passes of over 20 yards. But that's about it. And so when you're thinking about that, you're thinking about the weapons. It's like, okay, the weapons work when everybody is there, but the Ravens lose one guy and it destroys them because they don't have enough. They don't have a number 2 where it's, oh, he can also get open, right? Like, I know I like Duvernay as a 2. A lot of people like Devin Duvernay as a 2, but too many people overrate Duvernay. Too many people think like, oh man, Duvernay's the one. He's putting up all this production. He's putting up production because everyone is not focused on him. He's not Mark Andrews. He's not Bateman. He's not Lamar Jackson. He is the last thing on people's mind, unless he's returning the kick, because then he's everybody's problem right there. So he's not, it's not like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, where it's like, oh, Jamar Chase is being covered, but T. Higgins is cooking the other guy all game long. That's not the case. It's not Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. It's not Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. It's Rashad Bateman, who is decent, like a decent number 1, and then it's Devin Duvernay, who's a decent number 2. But the number 2s that I named are the best number 2s in the NFL. The average number 2 is just going to be like, okay, the 1 is covered, and he's playing. He can maybe sneak by and get some plays, and that's what we've seen at Duvernay. He's been good at his role, but we don't have the weapons that we need. So I'm gonna pose a question to you, Joshua. First round. What are the chances of taking wide receiver in the first round?
Hey, man, you already know the guy that I want.
Mr. Addison?
Yeah.
Mr. USC?
Yeah.
Mr. made Kenny Pickett a first-round pick?
Exactly.
I would love if we got him. But, like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I think we need to draft a wide receiver with our first-rounder because – we just don't like Duvernay could be a 3. Duvernay would be a great 3. You'd be one of the best number 3 wide receivers in the NFL. But obviously, this is meaning if Ojabo is good, like if Ojabo comes back healthy and he's good,
yeah.
If Ojabo comes in and it's like, okay, he can't get pressure either, then it's like, okay, we're drafting an edge rusher first round. But if Ronnie comes back and he's healthy and Ojabo comes in and he's good, what other positions do the Ravens need? I think they have to go wide receiver, which is so sad. Because when you're looking at Eric DeCosta's track record, what has been the biggest thing that they've been trying to get? It's always been wide receiver. They've had years where they need something else, but it's been wide receiver. I forgot to mention the other position we need, linebacker.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
What are the odds of the wide receiver? Percentage out of 100?
I'm going to say 70.
I love it.
I feel like, even though nothing's been done, in regards of Gregory Roman's job and John Harbaugh's job, I don't care what anyone says. I do feel like this could be a possibly hot seat year for these 2 guys, and we could possibly be moving on without them. And I for some reason I feel like it may not show it, but Eric DeCosta values Lamar Jackson more than these coaches that we have in house. And if that becomes true, with them, giving him the contract that he desires, and then letting go John Harbaugh, Gregory Roman, and yeah, that means they're truly all in on Lamar Jackson and his future, and they're truly going to get somebody, to play to his real strengths instead of to his legs. because I mean you hear it in you hear it on the Sunday games via the commentators. You know, they still talk about them like they never watched a Louisville game. So I mean, you know, wide receiver, corner, and linebacker are definitely positions that could be used on the number one pick. If Ronnie Stanley doesn't come back as strong or as healthy, I feel like we could always find ourselves an offensive lineman in the second or third round. We're good. We're good for doing that. I definitely give us props on finding those type of gems. Daniel Falele, unfortunately, I mean, well, when we go our separate ways with Morgan Moses, Daniel Falele will be moving over to the right side,
Yeah.
his natural side. So you know, it definitely would be smart, you know, in the next coming years to continue watching college football, seeing what left tackles will be available and things of that nature, and maybe even find someone that they can groom within the league as well. But yeah, if we're going to go to a truly balanced offense, still possibly run heavy, but still be able to spread the ball all out. I feel like we will go wide receiver, 70% chance in the first round, depending where it depends on how the season plays out too.
Yeah, obviously, it'll be a while before the draft. We're going to find out who the Ravens really have, who they really like, who's going to be able to step up, and what positions they really need. Obviously, trade deadline, free agency, all those things can definitely change
Mhm.
what you're going to end up doing. But